Ever notice how quickly a solid reputation can just crumble?
Yeah, like,
One whiff of scandal, right?
yeah.
It's like thin ice, you know?
Totally, totally.
And that's kind of what we're looking at today. Like this whole thing with this music executive, this mogul, this guy,
Yeah.
everyone knows who, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And this is someone who, like, their whole persona was built on this image of,
Untouchable.
yeah, untouchable success, parties, A-list this, A-list that. And
Yeah,
now,
the whispers are getting louder, right? Like they could actually topple the whole thing.
exactly.
So our source today, they were actually at a lot of these public events.
Oh, wow. Okay, so like the legendary ones, the ones you hear about?
Yeah, like the open bar,
Yeah.
celebrities everywhere, the whole 9 yards.
Wow. Okay.
But here's the thing. They say that as crazy as those parties were, nothing like actually inappropriate happened. Publicly, anyway.
So it makes you wonder, was it all just for show? Like to project this image of power?
Right. And it worked
Mm.
for years. But now things are changing.
Yeah, it's all crumbling.
Exactly. And it gets more intense because our source, they talk about these other gatherings, the private ones,
Yeah.
and their tone totally changes.
Oh, so these are the ones that are like really hush-hush, right? The ones no one talks about.
Exactly. Super secretive. And our source, to their credit, they're very upfront about it. They weren't at those.
Good. Good for them. I mean, it's important to acknowledge what you don't know, right?
Absolutely. Especially in a case this big. It's so easy to get caught up in the gossip. But them saying like, I wasn't there, it actually makes what they did see more believable.
Totally. Yeah. Like they're not pretending to have all the answers, just, putting the pieces together.
Exactly. So let's get into some of those pieces. They mentioned finding certain things. Baby oil, lubricant.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Yeah. And they're very careful. Like, it's just speculation, but
But come on, that's not your average after-party mess, right?
not at all. And look, we can't get into specific allegations, but our source is very clear. Any kind of predatory behavior, especially involving drugs or taking advantage, is unacceptable.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's what's so disturbing about this whole thing. The potential for abuse is huge in this industry.
Right. Because it's one thing to have a wild party. It's another to use your power to exploit people.
Exactly. And I think that's what's really resonating with people. There's this history in the music industry of protecting its own, right? So to see this happening...
People want answers.
Exactly. And I think they want to see consequences, too.
100%. And what's so fascinating is how this whole thing is playing out. It's like classic music industry, blind items, gossip blogs.
It's like this whole ecosystem of whispers that can make or break you, right?
Exactly. And this case is like fuel for that whole system.
Every little detail that comes out, it's like throwing gasoline on a fire.
Totally. And then there's this. Our source mentions videos.
Whoa. Okay, what kind of videos are we talking about here?
Potentially incriminating ones. And it's not just the executive, it's other big names too.
Oh, wow. So now it's not just one person, it's a whole network, potentially. This is huge.
And let's not forget about all the resignations lately. People close to this executive, they're jumping ship.
Right. But is it out of guilt? Or are they trying to save themselves?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It's like they're playing chess with real people's lives.
High-stakes chess, for sure.
Totally. And in the middle of it all is this executive, and things are not looking good. What do you think about the bail being denied? Flight risk, they said, and witness tampering.
I mean, it says it all to me.
Right. Like they're worried he's going to disappear or, influence the investigation. It's serious.
Our source said shady business, and that's what this feels like. And denying bail, it's just making it worse. It's like they looked at all that money and said, nah, this is bigger than that.
Right. Like something's off. Definitely unusual.
Totally. And it makes that whole shady business thing even more interesting.
Ooh, yeah. That phrase is so loaded. Like, where do you even draw the line in that world?
Right. Ambition, influence, taking advantage. It all gets blurry.
Totally. And this is way bigger than just one person, right? This is about a whole system.
Exactly. Think about it, the music industry.
Yeah.
It's all about secrets and image and, well...
Getting to the top no matter what.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And that kind of pressure, it creates a power dynamic that's... well,
oh, right, for abuse.
Exactly. You got these young artists, they're desperate to succeed, and then you have...
the gatekeepers, the ones with all the money and the connections.
If those people aren't kept in check...
it's going to get messy.
Yeah. In this case, whether he's guilty or not, It's shining a light on that whole mess.
Totally. Like pulling back the curtain, right. And
Yeah.
what's behind it isn't pretty.
Not even a little bit. And it's everywhere you look now. Social media is blowing up. People are distancing themselves.
It's like a train wreck in slow motion. Everyone's watching to see who gets caught.
And the worst part is, this might not even be that unusual, you know? Like, how many other stories are out there?
That's what's so unsettling about it. It makes you wonder, right? How much of this have we just accepted?
Exactly. And it's not just about one industry either. It's about power in general.
Oh, absolutely. It could be anywhere, your job, your community.
Even your family, right?
Yeah.
Like anywhere there's a power imbalance, things can get out of hand if we're not paying attention.
Exactly. We have to be aware of it. We have to talk about it. And we can't be afraid to hold people accountable.
In this case, as messed up as it is, maybe it's a wake-up call.
I hope so. Because it's time we demand better. From everyone.
Couldn't agree more. But for now, let's shift gears a bit. There's this one detail our source mentioned that I can't get past. So our source, right, they mentioned baby oil and lubricant. Like, they just dropped that in there?
Oh, yeah, casually.
Casually, but it's like, whoa, hold on a second. What's going on here?
It's like they knew exactly what they were doing. Plant that seed.
Exactly. And suddenly, all those rumors we talked about, the parties, the lifestyle, it takes on a whole different meaning.
Way darker.
Way darker. Because our brains, they fill in the blanks.
Oh, yeah, we're hardwired for that. The unknown is always scarier.
Always. And that's what's got everyone hooked on this story. It's like we're getting this glimpse into this world behind the music and the fame.
And what we're seeing is kind of messed up.
To say the least, right. And it all comes back to power. Who has it, who's abusing it, who's getting away with it.
And will anyone actually be held accountable this time? That's the question.
Right. Because we've seen this before, haven't we? Powerful people, scandals.
It's a tale as old as time. But this time feels different, doesn't it?
It does. Maybe it's social media. Maybe people are just fed up.
I think it's both. You can't hide anymore. The world is watching.
Exactly. And hopefully that means things are going to change.
They have to, for the sake of the artists, the fans, the whole industry.
In this case, it's like a wake-up call, right?
Big time. And it's not just about music. It's about every industry where power goes unchecked. Tech, finance, you name it.
It's about all of us. We have to be more aware, more willing to speak up.
100%. Silence only helps the abusers.
That's what this whole deep dive has really shown, I think. The power of speaking out. And the danger of staying silent.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today. But this conversation, it's not over, right? So keep asking those tough questions and keep demanding better. Because change only happens when we make it happen.